Define the role, the employee avatar. We've arrived at our last step in Define the Role. We're now ready to bring everything together into one handy reference guide. So far, you've completed your hate to-do list, employee wish list, needs analysis, and values pyramid. These resources shed light on the personal qualities or behavioral fit we need in our next hire. But though we've made the hiring process much clearer, we can still go one step further by creating what we call the employee avatar. The employee avatar is your instruction manual for the rest of the hiring process. The avatar not only sets clear expectations, but it can also serve as a useful tool to monitor employee success once hired and establish guidelines for annual reviews. It is your overview or talent snapshot that weaves the personal and professional characteristics you're looking for into one handy document. This vlog entry will take you through its component parts. Let's start from the top and work our way down. The first main section is the candidate summary. The summary is a rough sketch meant to capture the essence of the candidate's personality and motivation. Your candidate's motto is their modus operandi, or what you'd imagine their character, habits, or little quirks might look like and sound like. Feel free to have some fun with your avatar's motto. Next, you'll see the subsection called DISC. If you've never heard of the DISC before, know that it's helpful to use some type of personality diagnostic tool when hiring and matching talent to the role. We like the DISC because it's easy to understand and is general enough that it doesn't immediately disqualify good candidates. We'll dive much more into detail on the DISC and its usefulness later. In our DISC example, we have a few different suggestions, but suffice it to say that our ideal candidate is likely to have the traits of an interactive, steady, and compliant or ISC personality. Also realize that other personality types will also be strong candidates for the position like the SC or CS because people with this type of personality tend to have the behavioral characteristics that make for great assistants. SC personalities on the DISC tend to be careful, thoughtful, steady, and patient, qualities that are great in a supportive kind of role. In the candidate summary, we've also included goals and pain points. These are meant to be viewed in tandem with the DISC type because you'll find the motivation of employees or why they work and do what they do can differ quite a lot. For example, if you're hiring a salesperson, you'd need that personality to be motivated by money in order to be successful in the role of a commission-based salesperson. Salespeople are driven by change, persuasion, and the thrill of the hunt, which is why they ultimately value money as an end goal. Now contrast the goal of an administrative personality. This person is motivated by stability and consistency. The chances of this personality doing commission-based work are slim to none, because their primary motivation is one of certainty. Now let's talk about pain points. For the salesperson, too much structure can be stifling, constricting, and confining. They will resist micromanagement at all costs or flat out ignore you. The pain points for an administrative personality would relate to anything that creates disruption and unreliability. They expect leadership that is consistent, getting lost in the details, and completing projects to near perfection at the cost of time wasted. In creating your candidate summary, notice that we're not just focused on the positive attributes of a candidate, but trying to give a well-rounded perspective of what is realistic expectations of the types of personality temperaments that come with every position. Next, let's look at the mission, which is the job in a nutshell. It is the brief statement in one or two sentences for why the job exists and its core purpose. Notice in our example that the mission statement for this executive assistant role is short and easy to understand. It's a good idea to avoid using jargon when writing your mission. If you can't articulate why the job exists in simple terms, then you shouldn't expect candidates to have clarity either. Your mission should be reinforced by the values pyramid. You might not explicitly use the key words of your pyramid in the mission statement, but they should be implied. The outcomes section describes what needs to get done. Think of the outcomes section as the what section or key responsibility areas. This outcomes section is not an exhaustive list, but rather the broad strokes for which you can measure success in the role. Generally, you're looking at the role having 4 to 6 outcomes. The competencies section is where you list the fundamental skills needed to succeed in the role. They are the tools for how you perform the outcomes and the mission. You can generate quite a long list of competencies, but generally these skills should complement the mission, outcomes, and values pyramid. Notice that our fictional CEO has chosen tech savvy, communication skills, which could encompass both written and oral proficiency, team player, efficiency, and professionalism as his core competencies. It would stand to reason that you'd need high-level communication skills to deal well with your CEO and all communication contacts that reach out to him. This tool will take time to build, reflect on, and refine. But now you know who you need to hire as you have successfully defined the role. Congratulations! You've completed the most challenging part of the hiring funnel. Once you know what you want, it's infinitely easier to go out and find it.